So this video is about basically first time ever riding and driving and owning a bagger. See if it's, what it's all about. This is a 98 Harley Electric Ride Ultra Classic. It's got everything. It's got the tour pack on it with the rear seat. I got lower fairings on here, so it's pretty much everything you need for touring as far as putting the big miles on, which I haven't done yet. I just mainly got it for the Batwing fairing because I wanted some more wind protection, so when I go cruising it's more comfortable. I've put, I don't know, I just bought this thing like a month ago. I put a couple 100 miles on it. I mainly just drive it to work. I haven't done much on the weekends, been so busy. But how is it like owning a bagger? Well, I'm upgrading from a Sportster, and a Sportster I had a windshield on it, and I had some mini bags on it. As far as like the initial biggest difference is that it's way more comfortable. When I sit on this bike, it's like sitting on a cushion lazy boy sofa. Cruising down the road, it's awesome. I can ride on the highway with my hat on with these deflectors, and it buffets all the wind. I love it. Biggest downside is that coming from a Sportster, the power to weight ratio is quite a bit different. On my Sportster, I could throw it in the corners and rip on her, and she'll accelerate pretty hard. Whereas this one, even though it's got a bigger motor, it's the exact same Evo, just 150 cc's more, but it's a dog. It's definitely an extra 400 pounds. Sounds meaner, but it's not as agile. It's definitely made for cruising and cruising only. I actually had to, these floorboards weren't all the way up adjusted. I was scraping them in the roundabouts. So I said, we got to fix that. So I got them up as high as we could go. And I seem to be able to go around roundabouts now fairly okay-ish. And the bike leans pretty good, actually. I would say the huge difference is like when you're cruising down the road, anything above 10 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour, you really don't, probably like 10, you don't feel the difference. It's mainly when you're going slow that you feel like the bike is top heavy. The biggest thing for me is I'm short. I'm 5'5". So when I come to a stop, you gotta make sure your bike is pretty much level. I've actually had driven with a passenger on it. My girlfriend, she's a bigger girl than me, about average. And having her on the back, I mean, she sits higher up, so all that top heavy weight, you can tell a huge difference. But like I said, once you get cruising, you're fine. But as soon as you try to come to a stop, holy man, it's a lot. It's like if you're leaning over at all, you're going down. And like literally the first time we got this thing, she put her foot and I'm holding the bike up, and she put all their weight on that board, and down she went, right on the crash bar. So we learned our lesson like the first time we went out. Yeah, that we need to be a little more cautious. But she loves going on rides. It's a great cruiser. I thought the nice cool thing about this is, you know, with the speakers and the fairing in Wisconsin, you can ride with headphones in your ears. I'm not a helmet guy, so I bought a helmet when I first bought this bike just because, you know, it's been a while since I was riding, so I put speakers in my helmet and then I just switched over to just earbuds. And then switching over to this with the fairing, obviously it's a lot different. You know, with the earbuds and you get better sound, but the vibe is way different. Like cruising down the road. I mean, once you get above like 55, 60, with my exhaust is crazy loud, so I can't really hear it that well. I have to turn the treble all the way down to the EQ because I use my phone, so Spotify. I got the treble all the way down on the radio, and it sounds good. Yeah, if you're doing above 55 or lower, it sounds decent. But maybe if I were to get a quiet exhaust, it'd be more pleasant. But haven't taken on any big trips. I typically just cruise around town, and for that, it's amazing. It's like it's definitely made for cruising. It's a cruising bike. Let's see, but I don't know. Storage is nice. I love using the storage. Um, this is a 4.5 gallon tank, so I go about 160 miles before the gas light comes on. So that's kind of nice. Other than that, I mean, as far as like, only thing I've done to it so far is I can show you on the video here, but on the rear cylinder, their exhaust loops down and comes back around, and it gets really hot. So I actually wrapped it in header wrap tape because my leg was just boiling. That's the only thing I really done besides take the rear speaker pods out. I slapped them in the front lower fairing here. I eliminated a lot of the chrome stuff for the Ultra Classic, but you know, it had LED headlight, added LED fog lights. I love how tall the windshield is. I'm the kind of guy where I don't want any wind blowing on me. I know a lot of guys want it just a little bit so they can see over their windshield because they don't like looking through the windshield, but I could care less. Is it nicer? Yeah. Being able to see everything and not everything blocking your view. Then I'd just go wear a helmet, but you lose a lot of the experience with the helmet, I guess. I don't know. With this tall windshield on there, it does great. I have no wind or nothing. It's a good bike, but as far as just bagger life, it's definitely for cruising. If you want to have fun with it, this isn't the bike for you. This is definitely put some miles on and enjoy the ride. And I definitely enjoy the ride. Upgrading from a Sportster to this, I mean, I miss some of the sportiness, but then again, you could get another bike for bossing around town and stuff for that purpose, and that's kind of what I'm looking at. I was thinking about even get like an old Honda Shadow or something and just bobbing it out. Just for cruising around town, something kind of fun to do. But I've driven this. My brother had an 07 Street Glide. I've driven that. And once I drove that, I thought that was awesome with this front fairing. It's great. So when it comes to things that I would look for, and I thought about even when I bought this bike, was going from a 5-speed to a 6-speed. I think that would be very nice. But I didn't want to spend a bunch of money, so I paid $4,300 for this bike, and it's only got 30,000 on it. So I just wanted to see if it's something I would like. And so far it's been great for an older bike. And I like it because it's got the Evo. The Evo motor is a great motor. And honestly, you know, compared to a brand new Street Glide, it's not much different. Maybe not as fast, pulls hard. This will do like 14 and a half and a quarter mile, where a Street Glide can do maybe 12. So not a huge difference, really, but maybe more 15 and a quarter mile. But she's yeah, she's pretty slow. But that's not why you buy this bike. Fuel injected, you know, I would say the one thing I don't like about this bike also is that it doesn't have an O2 sensor in the exhaust. So it runs off of parameters built into the computer. So I believe it's like, you know, air temperature, cylinder temperature, throttle position sensor. It takes all those in factor to figure out how much fuel it's getting. Whereas the new bikes with the O2, it's reading it all through the exhaust. So, you know, when I start it and it's cold, it idles high and the thing shakes pretty bad. But once it warms up, it runs smooth and it's fine. But that's just something, you know, with this type of fuel injection that they had. First year in '98. I'll just show you around the bike and kind of just point out things, I guess. Show you. There's the windshield. Lower fairings. You know, when it's cold out, it helps. It helps for sure. But for the most part, I'm rocking the highway pegs because the engine gets hot. So if I'm riding, my feet are not on those floorboards. And I definitely upgrading the getting the newer style latches would be awesome. These things rattle pretty bad. These rattle, but you know, there's room, plenty of room. You're a little cold this morning, so I had the leathers on, but one thing I do think is pretty cool about this bike is on the radio, it has a weather band and a CB. So it's got intercom stuff and CB. If you flip it over, I think it's this one. AM, FM. It's not working right now because we're in a metal garage, but you know, weather band, radio, which I thought was pretty cool, and then a cassette player. I mean, that's pretty sweet. You can actually fast forward it. You can click the track and it'll actually skip to the next track. I thought that was pretty slick. Yeah, it's a nice bike. Another big thing to think about is if you were to get this is all in the ultra classic version. This is all built in to where the newer ones, you can take the touring pack off and swap out the seats super easy. This one, not so much. It's a lot to do to try to get her to look sleek for a solo rider. But other than that, yeah. Somewhere for my phone, it works. I really don't want to upgrade the radio. It's a lot of messing around. And I just rocked the little USB-C cord here. Works just fine. Another hot trick. Key for the gas tank. A lot of guys, if you lose it, you're screwed, right? So if you just take this and flip it around, the latch is on the back side, so you'll never have to worry about that. a bagger bike is it's interesting. Definitely having all that extra weight is a lot, but if you're driving by yourself, it's not that bad. You know, it's only when when you put a passenger on, then it starts getting really, important that if you're not tall, it can get kind of sketchy. Um, but just driving it solo by myself for a 5'5" guy, it's not really an issue. I sit pretty low in it. I've sat on newer Harleys. There's a Harley Davidson shop right down the road here, and you sit. The seats are wider, so you can't flat foot it because your legs stick out. The inside of your legs are so pushed out. Whereas on mine, it's pretty narrow. I'm sure you could fix that with a seat, but they seem a lot stiffer too. At least the stock ones are. But as far as maintenance goes, I haven't done anything yet. The guy I bought it from paid Harley to do it all, and from what I've seen, it's pretty simple to drain all the fluids. You can actually use the same fluids for all three. So literally it costs you like $50 or less, depending on what kind of oil you use. But so yeah, I bought Valvoline motorcycle oil, and it was, oh god, like $12 a quart. You could use regular car oil, but it's not designed for the heat like a air-cooled feed twin engine is. So I just went with a good quality oil because I want to quiet her down. It's got a little bit of valve, typical Harley valve sound with the clacking, but if I could smooth it out, make it run a little bit better with some good quality oil instead of using whatever Harley uses. I think the conventional oil, maybe synthetic blend, I don't know, but what they charge, I went and got some spare keys for this thing, and I looked at the prices, and they're charging you over $400 just to do all your fluids. So on the newer bikes, I don't know how complicated it is, but it can't be that bad. I mean, you can tell from me sitting on this thing that getting the bike up is like really the hardest part and backing it up, right? So I just I really gotta lean into her to get her going, and then once I get this kickstand up, then it's just backing her up is the hard part. But once you get her to where you want to go, like I still struggle with parking wise, but I can, when I'm sitting up, I can sit comfortable, but when I'm riding, I'm more forward, and then I'm just cruising. But if you want to do some cruising, don't be afraid to get a bagger. If you're 5'5" like me, it's a slight struggle, but I can sit on this bike and cruise for forever and be fine. On my Sportster, you hop on that thing, dude. It was, but no, it was just bad. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, man, let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Later.